another reshuffle of the deck chairs on the Titanic, Justin Trudeau has moved Joyce Murray over to the Treasury Board, and this just shows us exactly Trudeau's intentions on Canadian pipelines. In the latest federal cabinet shuffle, there seems to be one every 3 weeks or so these days. Justin Trudeau has just appointed longtime Liberal MP Joyce Murray to be the president of the Treasury Board. Now, there was a vacancy at the Treasury Board because another Liberal MP, Jane Philpott, resigned in the wake of Justin Trudeau's involvement in alleged obstruction of justice and alleged direct political meddling in the SNC-Lavalin scandal. Now, on its face, Murray might seem like a reliable pick from the CBC article on her appointment today. Murray, a Vancouver MP, is a former provincial cabinet minister and has been parliamentary secretary to the Treasury Board president for several years. Her appointment maintains the Trudeau cabinet's gender balance. Murray, who was also named the new Minister of Digital Government, is one of 34 Liberal MPs who survived the party's rout in the 2011 election. Yes, Murray has been kicking around the Liberal Party for a very long time. In fact, in 2012, she ran for the leadership of the party. And from her comments that she made back then, we can really learn a lot about her opinions on pipelines and oil and gas. She was the former BC Environment Minister, so that should give you some sort of hint. Now, I'm going to rely heavily on this National Post article from back in 2012. The oil sands is an important industry, and one of the things that's important about it is that it provides the wealth to transition out of the Stone Age, to transition to an era where we have energy efficiency and green energy, Murray told a news conference. Asked if she viewed the oil sands as a Stone Age industry, she replied, "We need to shift away from carbon resources that are creating harm in the atmosphere and creating risk and threat to the future, to our kids and their kids." Those pipelines would be a massive multi-billion-dollar investment in an infrastructure that is locking us into a business model that is obsolete, Murray said. And that business model is one in which the exploration and production and export of oil and bitumen is subsidized by the federal government. And that's not sustainable. That has to change. Now, being against pipelines, it was a prominent policy in her leadership platform when Murray was running to be the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. She was pretty upfront about it. I know you're saying, though, Sheila, that was in 2012, and a lot of people have changed their opinions about, I guess, a lot of things in 7 years. People evolve, as Barack Obama loved to say when he flip-flopped on an issue for votes. Well, Joyce Murray hasn't evolved at all. I would suggest her opinions with regard to oil and gas have probably hardened, especially on the Trans Mountain Pipeline in particular. You know, the one her boss bought for way more money than it was worth with Canadian tax dollars and then hasn't done anything to build it. Now, this is what Murray had to say, as reported in the Georgia Strait, right after her government approved the Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline twinning project in late 2016. Cabinet's decision to approve the Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion project is incredibly disappointing for me and for many in Vancouver Quadra and British Columbia, Joyce Murray said in a statement to constituents this evening. I worked hard to represent your concerns in Ottawa. I also stand in support of my colleagues in government in their inclusive approach to decision-making that considers more voices, a greater diversity of viewpoints, and wider consultation and consideration than ever before. At the same time, Murray praised the Liberal cabinet for not allowing the Northern Gateway project. I am very pleased that my 7 years of effort to protect BC's North Coast by legislating a ban on crude oil tanker traffic have now borne fruit, she stated. I ask you to join me in celebrating the protection of the Great Bear Rainforest and our majestic North Coast announced today. So what do you guys think? What do you think at home? Do you think that Justin Trudeau was just completely out of options for cabinet appointments because so many of his MPs are either completely and dangerously inept or are threatening to jump ship? Do you think Trudeau had no other choice than to appoint someone so vehemently anti-resource sector to a powerful position like that of the Treasury Board president? Did Trudeau appoint Murray because the most important thing about her was that she was a woman and she ticked the right social justice boxes? And because she was ticking those right boxes, Trudeau could overlook the fact that she opposes hundreds of thousands of jobs in the resource sector? Because I do. I think Murray's appointment shows us that when Justin Trudeau says he supports pipelines like the Trans Mountain Pipeline, he clearly doesn't mean a word that comes out of his crooked mouth. Murray being appointed to the Treasury Board shows us that Trudeau's virtue signaling to the world about his gender-balanced cabinet is far more important to him than getting men and women back to work in the West. Albertans will lose their homes, their livelihoods, their everything, and for the Liberals, that seems to be a fair price to pay so that Justin Trudeau can preen about what a feminist he is. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Sorry, Liberals, here in Alberta, we've been appointing anti-oil crazy people to high-profile cabinet positions for quite some time now. To get the full story on Alberta's Environment Minister Shannon Phillips and how she lied about Albertans to get her way, go to firephillips.com. And while you're there, you can sign my petition calling on Rachel Notley to turf her lying Environment Minister. That's at firephillips.com.